now we are going to be joined by Andrei Voinea. He's a really pragmatic and direct person. And he's a former senior engineer at a leading automotive supplier. And right now he's diving deep into the exciting world of Web3 entrepreneurship and technologies. So let's give him a really warm welcome with a really big round of applause.
All right. Let's get everyone bored with a very technical talk. How do you feel about that? Okay. How many of you are familiar with this thing? Can you have a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4? Cool. So this is Farcaster, right? It's like this on-chain protocol for social media, basically. Some guy created a protocol to create posts and comments and likes and stuff like that, and there are multiple front ends built on top of it. How many of you are familiar with this thing? These are Farcaster frames. The same guy created this protocol to build apps as posts. So you can post an app, basically. Imagine your newsfeed, and inside your newsfeed, one of your posts is an app which has some buttons and some images, and the users who follow you and see your post, they can interact with the app inside your post, right? So this is the Farcaster frame. Cool. So I'm Andrei. I built things for like 3 years in Web3, something like that. And last year, I was at NFT Bucharest warm-up, and I presented NicePFP. NicePFP is a project I built like 4 years ago. I needed a profile picture, and I created this thing which generates faces, and you can mint them and use them as a profile picture for free, because I didn't like the fact that Bored Apes are like $2 million. So I just built myself a thing you can use to make profile pictures and create like a Web3 identity for yourself, right? For free, unlimited, it's simple, it's on-chain, that's it. And yeah, you know this guy, right? A few months ago, February 14th, he sent me this message. Hey, how about, remember your NicePFP thing? How about we create a frame on Farcaster for it? And yeah, it went downhill from there. It was like famous last words. This is gonna be a very technical talk. I'll try to go really fast through it because that's not the point. But yeah, let's go. This is the architecture of how you can mint a NicePFP on a Farcaster frame thing, embeddable app in a post. It's a mess, but we'll go through it. To understand frames a bit better, the frames protocol, it's basically images and buttons. And it's built on top this standard OG, which is not like original gangster, it's Open Graph, but it sounds cool. It's built on top of the standard Open Graph protocol, and now you're gonna be like, okay, cool, smartass, you explained one thing we don't understand with another thing we don't understand. What is the standard OG protocol? If you ever sent a link on Discord or on iMessage or whatever, and it turned into this, right? Did you ever see this? This is the Open Graph protocol. This web page has an Open Graph API, which tells the app, hey, when you see this link, show this message with this text. It's basically the same thing for the frame OGs. Now, going back to NicePFP for a second, this is how the web app works. I really like this idea of drawing the image in the browser so the user can see while the image is drawn, right? But this means that that image must be generated inside the browser. It cannot be generated on server side and then send the animation or something, right? The animation must happen inside the browser. But for a frame, we can only send images. We cannot send like animations or something. We can only send images. So I needed to create an API endpoint which generates the image and then the user on his device, on Farcaster, goes to this thing, and it should show up the frame inside the post, right? No, it doesn't work. Because the Farcaster protocol has a limit of 256 bytes response limit. An image is bigger than that. So you cannot send an image to a Farcaster frame. You have to upload the image and then send the link, right? Cool. So when the user makes a request, we generate the image, we upload it to IPFS, and then we send the URL back to the user. It should work, right? No, it doesn't. Because the Farcaster protocol requires you to respond in maximum 10 seconds. This upload things takes like 7. So the whole round trip doesn't work. Cool. Then what can you do? This is basically caching, if you ever heard of it. We generate images on the server, a lot of them. We store them in a database. We persist them in IPFS. When the user comes in and makes a request, we go to our pre-generated images, take one of them and send them back to the user. It should work, right? This one indeed does. And this way, we can have the user see an image in a Farcaster frame, right? But the user must mint the image, because that's the whole point, because this is the blockchain, and the user should own the thing, right? Now, the way the nice PFP smart contract works is, if you remember, I said that the image is generated in the user's browser, right? That means, technically, the user controls the content, because you cannot trust the browser. A malicious user could insert a Rickroll image in there, and then that would be minted in my smart contract. I don't want that, right? I want to be able to control the images. So the way we do it is the user generates the image, it sends it back to my server. My server does some really cool stuff I'm not gonna tell you about, and then generates a signature. And I send back the signature to the user. And then the user calls the smart contract with the image and my signature, and the smart contract will check, hey, is this image authorized? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool, then let's mint it. That means that I'm kind of the centralized power of nice PFP, but there's no other way to do it. So we figured out showing the images. We figured out the minting. Let's just put them together and make the thing work, right? No, it doesn't work, because this image URL and its signature is longer than 256 bytes. So you cannot send it to the Farcaster frame, right? I got around this and it works, but the point is there have been a lot of limitations. Like, you hit wall after wall after wall when you try to build a nice thing, because you want to be nice to your users, right? And I call that the developer experience hell, right? The way it usually works is some guy or company or some smartass, I don't know, creates protocol, right? And then they also create like an SDK or libraries or ways to interact with that protocol. And that's basically this part. It's called the developer experience side of things, right? And then a developer like me, a guy comes here, which is me, a developer, uses these things to build an app for you guys, right? That's how it's supposed to work. And I think we can all agree that this ends up being pretty shitty, usually. And the user experience in Web3 is not the greatest. But my point is, the magic to fix this lies here. This thing can fix the user experience. So if anyone here is thinking about building a protocol, or you know someone who's building a protocol, or stuff like that, please take care of your developers because that will end up in better user experience for your end users. That was it. Thank you. If any of you has any questions? Very technical talk, I know. The developer experience part of things, so imagine this. This is Polygon Labs, right? They build a Polygon chain. And they also build some libraries for it, for developers to interact with it. They get money from the protocol. So they are incentivized to make developers come and build on their protocol, because developers are going to build apps, which is going to bring users, which is going to generate transactions, which is going to bring money, right? But everyone focuses on that thing. Everyone is like, yeah, we must do something in order to have users. No, I don't think so. You must do something in order to make developers have a really good time building on your protocol, and they will figure it out then, right? And then users will come.